Hello dear friends, I'm Samuel Moore and welcome to this week's video lesson. As many of you know, I recently published my third flamenco guitar tutorial book, Flamenco Guitar, Compa's Essentials, Bulerías. This book and the series it's part of helps you unlock the spontaneous nature of flamenco performance. You can find out more about the book via the link in the description below, as well as order a copy. But today, I'd like to share with you a short extract from the book so you can get a better idea of what it's all about. Specifically, I want to share with you a simple melodic phrase that can be used on beats 7, 8, 9 and 10 of Bulerías' basic compass. The phrase you're going to learn sounds like this. Here it is again, but this time in the context of Bulerías' basic compass. And here it is one more time, but with me counting the numbers. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, before we talk about how to use that phrase in the context of your wider playing, let's take a moment to learn the specifics of how to play it. In many respects, this is a very simple phrase. It's built around the alzapua technique with this hand, the one where you play the bass note and then you go down and up. Okay? So all we're going to do with the left hand is land a B flat chord voiced like so. And what's going to happen is you're going to play the bass note B flat, then use the second finger that's available, this one, to hammer on to C. So it goes, and then you're just going to go down and up with your thumb, which is currently resting on the 4th string. And there's a golpe on the down strike, and then you just flick upwards after that. So the whole thing together sounds like this. Then, to conclude the phrase, you play the C, and then pull off back to the B flat. So what you've got so far is this. And then finally, you just play the open A on its own. And you're going to mute that note by just using the fingers to finish the note off early. To conclude, a golpe on the body of the guitar using this finger. All together. Now in terms of the rhythm, that's basically played as straight quavers. So you're basically going to go 7 and 8 and 9 and then when you get to beat 10, it's a staccato crotchet. And then of course you wait for beat 11 and tap the body of the guitar. Very simple. In other words, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's the basic melodic phrase. How do you get into it? Well, there are a few ways you can do this depending on how you play the basic compass of Bulerías. But a classic way to get into this is where you basically harmonically go from the A to the B flat, and that movement happens on beat 3. So in other words, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're into the melodic phrase. In terms of what we do with this hand to make that a bit more interesting when we're playing it, we're just going to go down and up on beats 12 through to 5 with accents on 12 and 3. So in other words, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And notice I was doing a golpe on 12 and 3 when I did the down strike. When we get to beat 6, we're just going to do a very light down strike with the index finger, like so. You could, in theory, accent 6 by going 6. But the simple truth is, to play what you're about to play is more difficult if you do that. So it's best if you don't. So in other words, what we've got so far is this. 12, 1, 2, 3, 6, and then just get into position, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So having now learnt it, let's just loop it a few times together just to get used to playing it. Here we go. So there you have it, a very simple melodic phrase that can be used on beats 7, 8, 9 and 10 of Bulerías' basic compass. Now you're probably saying at this point, that's great Samuel, but why are you teaching us this phrase? Well, this goes right to the heart of one of the main subjects in one of the chapters of my new book. Essentially, when you're playing a palo like Bulerías, the basic compass ideas are essentially the core rhythmic ideas that you keep coming back to again and again in between different ideas such as falsettas and llamadas. Now, I'm not going to teach you what I'm about to show you. I'm just going to explain it as a concept because it's an idea that will serve you well. When people are performing the Bulerías basic compass, there are a number of classic phrases you can use, but one that people often gravitate towards sounds like this. Now that's a great phrase. The problem is that if that's the only one you ever use, guess what? It's going to start to get very repetitive and very boring if all you ever do is loop it. With this in mind, it's a very good idea to have a lot of optional ideas for varying the Bulerías basic compass to add more spontaneity, interest and variety into your compass playing. The phrase you learnt earlier for beats 7, 8, 9 and 10 can essentially be used to do this. It can essentially be cut and pasted into the basic compass. To demonstrate this, I'm going to play 2 cycles of Bulerías basic compass. The first time, I'm just going to use the very simple idea I played a moment ago, and the second time, I'm going to cut and paste that 7, 8, 9, 10 phrase you learnt at the start of the video. Here we go. You can hear straight away the playing is already sounding more sophisticated and more interesting. Now imagine this. Imagine you don't just have one variation for beats 7, 8, 9 and 10 of the Bulerías compass. Imagine you have many. To take the idea a little further, imagine you have multiple variations for many different parts of the Bulerías basic compass and are able to use them at will when performing in a spontaneous way. That, in a nutshell, is one of the main chapters of my new book. You will learn how to play Bulerías basic compass in a varied and spontaneous way, and crucially, you will then learn how to integrate that with other components such as falsettas and llamadas when performing. In short, by the end of the book, you'll be able to improvise your own Bulerías solo. If all this sounds good to you, I warmly invite you to follow the link in the description below and treat yourself to a copy of my new book today. I look forward to seeing you in the first chapter, but for now, I leave what you've just learnt in your capable hands.